2011 BMW 535i. Customer complaint on this one is when you try to drive it, and I drove it too, it only goes like 5 miles an hour. And it's in a reduced power or limp mode, whatever you want to call it. So it only goes like 5 miles an hour. So I did a full system scan. I looked at this one a little while ago. We're going to go through it here on video kind of quickly. But history on it, I think the computer was sent in, the DME was sent in to a place somewhere in the United States to look at the computer, and they were saying it may need a new computer. What I'm looking at, it doesn't show the signs of that. So what I did is I did a full system scan with the Altel Ultra and topology. There was codes and I cleared them. However, what comes back, we're going to the DME here. We'll look at this. Trouble codes. So right here is the key one I kept getting. DME monitoring 5-volt sensor supply, voltage out valid range. So if I erase these, got key on engine off. Valvetronic servo motor position, supply voltage missing. I have to start it here and run it. No, read them again. So what comes back every time, I just got key on engine off. I'm not even running yet. Is field low pressure sensor, Valvetronic servo position sensor, and the 5-volt reference. And no messages from the door sensors, the DME, or that's a separate issue. Anyways, the Valvetronic is right here under the valve cover. Well, if I unplug this and I leave it unplugged, there's 11 or 12, I can't remember. There's a bunch of pins in here. Powers, grounds, communication, I would imagine, different or position sensors and all stuff for Valvetronic. If I erase them, what comes back, we'll read it a few times here, is the Valvetronic servo motor position sensor, supply voltage missing. Obviously it's missing because we have it unplugged now. But what you notice is the 5-volt reference code is gone. So what I believe is happening is the sensor or solenoid motor assembly, it's a motor position sensor, advances, retards the timing of the camshaft. I believe that's shortened the whole reference down, which goes back to the computer. So nothing there. We don't care about this door one, but we have the Valvetronic one. Now if I plug it back in and read codes, look, 5-volt supply circuit comes right back, and the field low pressure sensor short circuit to earth. So let me start it here real quick. So I got it running now. The sensor's plugged in. Read codes. Eventually, what'll come up is a APP, accelerated pedal position sensor. Might not show it now, but I did when I looked at it last week. Low field pressure, another code in there. So when I'm hitting the gas here, nothing happens. It doesn't even rev up, just at idle. Nothing happens there at all. Right there, accelerated pedal position sensor, plausibility 1 and 2. And I'll show you why this, I believe the low side and the 5-volt reference is all tied to this. Now if I unplug this sensor, it's unplugged, erase these codes, I still got it running. Still going to have the pedal position code, Valvetronic there. I still don't think it's going to rev up because we have an issue. Actually, it does rev up now. Hear it revving up. It never did that before. Wow, it's because I had it plugged in. So I'll show you something here on the scan tool in regards to that. So that 5-volt reference circuit is gone. So I plugged it back in, key on, engine off. If I hit read codes, look, 5-volt reference comes back. So let's go to this real quick and go to our repair assist. This emulates the BMW fault finding. We'll let this load up. All right, so this is pulling up here. 5-volt supply. So I went through this last week, but basically what I wanted to see here, it's been a hot minute since I looked at this. I don't think it was this one. I want to go to the other one. I think I want to go to this one here. Show you this one. So that's loading up. Sorry about the glare. See my ugly head in the back. So let's go to wiring here. Go to this. Show you here. What schematic was it? This one. Okay, so there's different 5-volt references in here. I think there's 3 of them, and I think this is number 3, if I remember right. And if you look, the Valvetronic pin 11, which is this guy right there. There's different pins in there. That's power nat, but look, the APP. So, well, let me just back up here. This 5-volt reference, there's different 5-volt reference. Like here's one, there's one. The APP, this is a 5-volt reference, this is a 5-volt reference. That's why we're getting this circuit here causing this issue right here. Or APP as well, because that feeds the 5-volt circuit, gets fed from the 5-volt circuit to the APP sensor here, Valvetronic, intake manifold pressure, and the high pressure fuel pump position sensor. I know we had low pressure codes, but eventually there was high pressure codes in there. I don't know if it showed it in this video, but there was earlier, the position of that. So long story short, that 5-volt feeds all these. Well, if any of these sensors, like this one, the Valvetronic, is taking it down, we're going to have issues with all these. And that's why we had it, when it's plugged in, we had a 5-volt code, because it's taking the whole DME down. I don't believe the DME or engine computer, digital motor electronics, is bad. I believe this sensor is taking this whole thing down, causing this issue. So like if you look at this picture here, it'll show you, where it's at, which we know. You go in here, it'll show our pin out right here. Pin 11, which we'll check. We can do some checks on the car, see what's shorting it out. That's your 5-volt reference. We can look at that as well. So, go back. You hit it again here. So we're going to check for a short circuit. Look, 5-volt 1, 2, and 3 references. Number 1 has a fault. I don't know if I said 3 earlier, but it's number 1. Terminal 15. Until we fix that, this will say fault. So we got to fix that and see what's going on. I believe that sensor is taking it down. We kind of just proved that earlier by unplugging it and stuff, but I'm gonna unplug it, see how it drives, and then I'm gonna also go through and back probe, or front probe, back probe this connector with a plugged in, and go from there. Alrighty, so I'm in the car. I got it running. I'm going to drive it here. I got the Valvetronic connector unplugged, the one that was short and everything out for the DME. And now I drive down the road normal. You can see that I was going almost 40. So, as soon as I plug it in, it'll only go, you know, it'll limit your throttle. It'll just idle, basically. But look at that, I can drive. Normal, there. Of course, there's going to be engine light on, so that Valvetronic is 100% taking that thing and shorting that circuit out in the DME. That's why I believe the DME, the engine computer, is fine. I believe that solenoid needs to be replaced, and that'll fix it. You know, I may hook up and film where I'll do that. I'll check the bias voltage, show the 5 volts, and then plug it in and see if it's taking it to ground or what it's doing. But obviously, we know what's going on with it. All right, so I plugged that Valvetronic motor back in. Like, that's to the floor right there, and it barely moves. So that proves that. I'll go in the shop here, we'll check some wiring, and we already know where we're going. It needs that solenoid assembly, and we'll go from there. All right, so I got key on, engine off. Make sure I'm on the right pin here. Now I'm on the right pin. I'm on pin 11 here. My AS wave breakout kit. We got 5-volt reference. Now I can plug it in, but I have to open this harness up and back probe it and see why see if it's shorting down, which we already know what it is, but we can look at that. But when it's unplugged, a 5-volt reference from the PCM or DME, digital motor electronics, is good. It's sending the 5 volts out. If it wasn't right there, we go down the wiring issue or the DME PCM issue. But we do have a good voltage there, so we prove that that cylinder's taking it down. Remember, it was pin 11 from earlier part of the video. If you look right there, there's pin 11. Just to show that we do got our 5-volt ref. Alright, so I got it hooked up with Phil's probe. There are little fingers on there, small like little needles. It doesn't hurt the wire. We got 5 volts unplugged. As soon as I plug it in, look, it goes to 0.5 volt, takes it all the way to ground. The computer's reading that, I would imagine, from one of these feedbacks as well, and it's shorting it out. Take it off. See, it's going up. It's changing there. Pull it off, goes back. So we need this eccentric shaft, or not eccentric shaft, this Valvetronic motor assembly. But to pull this out, there's 2 bolts here, but you got to pull this whole valve cover. Obviously something's been in here, but that's not causing the issues. These wires are all good. But we got to pull that out. We got to pull the valve cover and replace that if the customer wants to do that. Alrighty, so it's plugged back in. Drop, I unplug it. 5 volts come back. I plug it in. It goes away. Taking it to ground. Almost to ground, not all the way. I wanted to prove, though, I unplugged the APP, accelerator pedal position sensor, and it's still there. I just want to prove that that pedal is not taking it down. That, in fact, it is this Valvetronic one taking it down. All right, one more thing before I wrap this video up. APP accelerator pedal still unplugged. I got the Valvetronic plugged in still. And I'm going to erase the codes. This is just proving that it's not the APP, which is part of that same circuit. 5 volts comes back, all outside its range, even with the APP unplugged. Of course, we're going to have APP codes as well because it is unplugged. As soon as I unplug the Valvetronic, goes to 5 volts. We erase them. Again, I got key on, engine off. I read the codes. We have Valvetronic and APP. But the 5 volts never comes back. So we 100% need a Valvetronic assembly there. Pull the valve cover out, put it in. So that is it for this video.